So, hello and welcome back, everyone, to our final meeting today. It's been a long day, but we have saved the best for last. And I'm happy to present today tonies SE to you. Probably your kids will love the products, and Peter Dietz, Head of Investor Relations, he will enlighten us why also investors should have a look at the company and also the stock. So we will have the usual 30 minutes, 20 minutes of which will be a presentation, followed by 10 minutes Q&A. As you all know by now, the chat box to the bottom right will be available for your questions. And for housekeeping, you will see the red light on the top right. We will have a recording, which means the presentation will be available on our research hub later on, in case you missed parts of it. And therefore, we'd like to start with the presentation. Peter, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, and I'm extremely happy to present to you the success story of tonies today. And let's jump directly into the presentation since we only have 20 minutes or 30 minutes, including Q&A. I think we can proudly claim that tonies has set the benchmark for creative screen-free play globally. We have built the largest interactive audio experience platform for children in the world. As already mentioned, I think in most of the households with little kids in Germany, a Toniebox is present, and in more than 100 countries, families have activated the Toniebox. And we can track this quite closely, since whenever a Toniebox is activated, and it's done by putting a Tony figure on the Toniebox, and the content is downloaded from the cloud, we see the activation. So we can exactly see where in the world a Toniebox is activated. And this is special since we only have our own distribution systems established in the countries, especially mentioned here in North America and the DACH region, specific European countries, and Australia and New Zealand. In Q3, we managed to reach a milestone with the 10 millionth Toniebox sold, and it was a Toniebox 2. Those of you who know the company, have followed the company, it was the biggest innovation we started end of Q3. And I come to this in detail a bit later, what this will offer to our product portfolio and product offerings. More than 134 million tonies have been sold since the foundation of the company in 2016, so only in 9 years' time. And we have a unparalleled stickiness, which tells you the parents love that their kids use the screen-free Toniebox, because the average playtime of a Toniebox is 282 minutes per week, which means 40 minutes a day. And another KPI, which is not mentioned here and we're extremely proud of, is the so-called Net Promoter Score. And this is approximately 77 in the US for tonies. And if you Google it, you find that scores about 50 are considered excellent. For example, Lego has roughly 54 and Apple has 61. And tonies, as mentioned, has 77. A quick glance on the first 9 months and the highlights of the first 9 months. It was a stellar performance. We had some phase-in effects due to the start of the Toniebox 2. And Q3 was exceptional with an increase of 52% of our revenues. And what you see here on the quarterly development is a typical jump up in Q4, since Q4 by far is our strongest quarter. And we are in the middle of the main season of the year for tonies, with the Black Friday week just passed and the Christmas season ahead, or in the middle of the Christmas season. So 45 to 50% of our sales will be generated in Q4. Another highlight of the Tony equity story is that we have an extremely predictable and scalable business model, since with every Toniebox, typically 15 to 20 Tony figures are purchased with the typical time a kid uses the Toniebox, which is between 3 and 7, so 4.5 years. And as you can see here, the figures for the first 9 months tell you that the dynamics of growth have been even increasing in the last quarters, with 22 million tonies sold in the first 9 months. Let's take a quick look on the biggest innovation, the Toniebox 2. On September 15, we started marketing and selling the Tonybox in Europe and in Australia, New Zealand, and in Canada. And from October 5, people can now buy, our customers can now buy the Tonybox in the US. With Tonybox 2, or Tonybox 1 made us the global #1 in audio listening experience. And with Tonybox 2, we open next chapter of growth and expansion of our platform with the opportunity of interactive play. You see on the right side here of the chart with a controller and a play disc. We started with 12 games at the beginning. As a Disney game, a Paw Patrol game, or Linos, which is an own content game. And this offers a brand new opportunity, not only for the kids themselves, but it's only for families that they can play against each other with the Tonybox 2 now. And we are extremely happy, and this offers us huge potential for the quarters and years to come. This is an overview of our new extended product platform with the Tonybox 2 as the central platform, the tonies, and there's a clear backward compatibility of the old Tonybox, the old tonies. They can also be used on the Tonybox 2. We have the new category with Tony Play. We have the third-party product, which are licensed like from Playmobil, etc. We have a broad audio library with thousands of content kids can download there, and a broad range of accessoires. So a broad value chain we can offer to our clients. And this, and now jumping in the potentials and the future of our companies. So I like to focus on the next 3 charts on the growth vectors and growth potentials. With Tonybox 2, we are able to extend the addressable age of the kids using the Tonybox. And besides the, I would call it natural growth factor, with 820,000 newborns in the DACH region every year and 3.6 million newborns in the US, we have new growth vectors with the Tonybox 2. The first is the backward compatibility of reaching families earlier than before. As I said, we typically started, or our core target group is in the age between 3 and 7. And with the new 1+ certification and the launch of My First Tonies, which had an extremely successful start, we also can address younger kids starting from the age of 1. And there are always, and there will be a lot of discussions going on, I'm sure, for Christmas, which grandparent can present the Tonybox to the kids when they are newborn, or when they just grow up in the age of 1. As mentioned, core target group stays between 3 and 7. With the Tonybox 2, we offer, besides the audio experience, we can offer interactive gaming opportunities for them. And growth factor 3, which is represented here on this chart, is the extension and the potential engagement of children older than 7 up to the age of 9+, with the gaming opportunity in the active gaming. And the first indications we already have, since it was in the first 2 months we sell the Tonybox 2, is that we have 40% upgraders in our clients, which means people who already owned the Tonybox 1 also bought the Tonybox 2, and 55% of the of people who activated the Tonybox 2 have been in the age of 5+. This also indicates that we're extremely successful with the new offerings for the older kids. Next growth vector, and we have been extremely successful here, and this is our biggest growth opportunity still to come. Besides, we have been already extremely successful here, is the USA. We started selling our Tony products in 2020, and as you can see here, the activation has been grown dramatically and dynamically. And what is important to understand here is the penetration rate in Germany is more than 50%, so more than in every second household with young kids, you find a Tonybox. In the US, it's still only a roughly 10%, and we have clear targets to grow dramatically there to get a higher penetration rate also in North America. And some indications that we are actually quite successful there can be shown here. There is no shopper in the US who can miss us. We are proud that we can say this. For those of you who know the retail system, you have to attract Target and Walmart as the biggest players in the market. With Target, we are present in all more than 1,700 Target stores. And there you need to know that 75% of all Americans live within a range of 10 miles around a Target store in the US. And we are so successful that Target offers us more and more shelf space. In 23, we only had 4 feet. In 24, we doubled to 8 feet. And from 25, we have already 12 feet with Toniebox and Tony offerings. Walmart was a bit late, but they are catching up. And this is reflected and mirrored in 2 phases, that we were shifted from the electronics department there to the toys department, which is very rare, we were told at Walmart. And secondly, in the nationwide Christmas spot, there were only 3 brand mentions, and I like to quote the spot. I can't show it here out of technical reasons. They say, we have it all at Walmart. We have Tony's, we have Nespresso, and we have Apple. And this is the order they mentioned, the 3 brands, and only these 3 brands are mentioned in the Christmas spot at Walmart this year. A quick glance on our established market in the DACH region. We are still able to grow substantially with 16% revenue growth in the first 9 months. And we are more and more developing to a kind of fear of missing out product, since a good example is the seasonal issue of the Christmas and Advent calendars, Christmas Tony and Advent calendar. Despite the fact that we have doubled the product capacities, they were sold out within hours. So we are extremely successful also in our established markets. Last but not least, I'd like to mention another growth factor. This is based on the opportunities of the Toniebox 2. We have just announced in October a new cooperation with Hasbro for Tony Play. So from Q2 next year onwards, you find additional games out of this partnership. I think the best well-known will be Monopoly, and we have seen how it will look like, and we are very enthusiastic that this will be a great success. And most probably the next news flows from Tony's will be with the announcement of new partnerships with well-reputed and well-known brands, with additional offerings for Tony Play and for our product portfolio in the Tonies. A quick glance and some more details regarding our 9 months figures, just 1 page. Already mentioned the growth in DACH and North America, but even more impressive is the growth in our new markets in the rest of the world, with a plus of 80% in our revenues. These are the sales in UK, in France, Australia, and New Zealand. We have been extremely successful. Australia and New Zealand was the best start we ever had in the new region just 1.5 years ago. And what you can't see here is that we have been very successful in all product categories with double-digit growth with the Tony boxes, the Tony figurines, and also the accessoires and digital offerings. As already indicated, we are in the middle of the most important season of the year, with 45 to 50% revenues in Q4 to be generated. The first indications for the Black Friday week have been impressive, so we are very optimistic that we can achieve our full year guidance and pass the threshold of 600 million euro sales, which means we will grow by more than 25% year on year on a group level. North America will show overproportionate and more dynamic growth with more than 30%, and we do this profitably with an EBITDA margin between 6.5% and 8.5%, despite the fact that we are facing or had to face substantial US tariff impacts, especially in the second half of this year. So let me summarize my presentation with the key takeaways. We had another fantastic year for tonies. This year was exceptional and a fantastic stellar performance in the first 9 months. The launch of Toniebox 2, the biggest innovation since tonies was founded, is a great success. The reactions and the feedback from kids and from parents is fantastic. I presented to you the growth vectors, the additional growth vectors we see from the new innovation, and there will be more to come since we are extremely positive regarding future innovations based on partnerships. Q4, we are on a good track that this will be a record quarter. Black Friday week and Cyber Monday was very good. So we are very optimistic to achieve our full year growth and profitability targets. And we are ready and set to continue our profitable growth in the year 26 and the years to come. One important thing, since our IPO end of 21, we have always delivered what we promised and even over-delivered. And to give an outlook on our financial calendar, most importantly will be that we plan to do a capital markets day in Q2 26, where we'll set new midterm targets. And we are also very pleased that this will reflect our growth ambitions for the years to come. Plus, maybe another potential news flow will be the decision of the new composition of the stock market indices, and the Deutsche Börse will announce this, I think, it will announce it tomorrow evening at 10 p.m. So hopefully there will be a press release that Tony will be included in the SDAX index before Christmas. So let's press our thumbs for this. And now I'm happy to answer your questions. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Peter. Seems to be that very exciting times are still ahead of you, and I can just confirm what you mentioned. We have 2 Tonieboxes at home, and my kids are fighting for that. Really a great product. Getting into the questions, I think the first question you already answered. Obviously, everyone is keen to know how Cyber Monday, Black Week, the Black Week actually performed. You mentioned you had a fantastic Black Week. Can you quantify that a little bit more in terms of region or KPIs?
It's definitely too early. I have a Hall effect. It's definitely too early since Cyber Monday is it's not 24 hours ago, but we have a good indication for Black Friday. And I think, as I said, it confirms our outlook for full year. It confirms our optimistic scenario for Q4. And we will publish, like in the years before, in the beginning of February, our preliminary figures, which will underline what I said. So it's too early to give details for this. But what I can say is that we are happy with all regions we offer our products. It's not only North America, it's DACH and the rest of the world too.
Yeah. Maybe more on a general term, sales during the Cyber Monday or Black Friday period, are they normally coming with the same margin, or is there any margin difference for you at these discounted periods?
This is really a good question. There are discounts, but they are done normally by the retailers. We have our own tonies shop where we also had discounts, but more on the basis of the remaining Tonieboxes 1 of the TV1, where the margin anyway is smaller, or the boxes is smaller than on the Tony figurines. But we still offer them. It's just phasing out. We are very happy with the performance also of the Tonieboxes 1, so there will be no inventory problems on this. But yes, there are the typical Black Friday discounts, or have been the typical Black Friday discounts. But in general, this is also reflected in our full year guidance of the profitability.
Yeah, okay, very good. So let's have a look at the questions then, the remainder of the questions. The core of your value lies in curated screen-free storytelling delivered via physical figurines plus Toniebox. given rising competition from alternative kids audio or storytelling platforms, how do you plan to defend your content mode and avoid commoditization of content? Long question, probably you had a few slides on that.
Yeah, I think it's not a new question to us, since Spotify has a lot of children content too. But our major advantage is that parents love to leave their kids alone, which they can with the Toniebox. They don't come back an hour later and they find them listen to any kind of weird stories and heavy metal music or whatever. Since when you have a Toniebox, you have the Tony figure and you put it on the box, they can handle this when they're starting from the age of 1 or 2 on their own. So this is one major advantage. Plus, I think our biggest advantage is that the Tony figure, if you have a small kid, you know this, they love to hold the figures themselves. And not only listen. When I was younger, there were tapes and CDs and even LPs where we listened fairy tales, etc. And with the Toniebox, you can also collect it. As you can see here on the picture, with the Tony Play, we have additional opportunities for people to collect cards. Here you see famous Disney movie figurines. So this is an additional add-on, and we have been successful even when Spotify and other audio offerings and content offerings have been on the market before. So our growth, we don't. I wouldn't say we don't care, but it's not a danger to us. And there's also competition in other countries, but we are by far the number one globally. And we have, whenever we entered the market, we became number one after a very short period of time there.
Yeah, you mentioned you're a truly global operation by now. So the next question obviously drills down on that one, saying the biggest operational and cultural challenges. What do you think? Which are these? I mean, obviously selling tonies in China is a different story than selling them to North American markets. So how can you scale on a global footprint?
I would really say the biggest risk for tonies is to handle the growth. We have fantastic growth opportunities, but we also have to grow our organization. We have to grow our structure. We are asked, I think, in every one-on-one meeting at conferences and roadshows, why don't you expand to Spain and Italy, etc.? But I think we do it step by step, and we are very successful in doing so. I wouldn't exclude that we will enter additional markets in the future, but, and that's what you mentioned, is we also need local content for this. I think the language is not the problem. We already offer some Spanish content and tonies, but it's the local content, and I think we do it step by step. And I already mentioned the growth factors we already have to handle. So I think we are doing good by focusing on North America, and then maybe in the next 2-3 years, and this will be also explained during our Capital Market Day in Q2 next year.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. The next question actually asks about your growth. Your financials show very strong growth in North America and the rest of the world. We've seen the slide. Could you walk us through your plan for sustaining growth outside the DACH region? I mean,
as I said, in Australia, New Zealand, we have just started and we've been already extremely successful. North America, I think I indicated that there's room for improvement in the penetration rate. So as I said, 10% in North America, 50% in Germany. I wouldn't put this as a target to reach 50%, but imagine we achieve 20 or 25%, the growth potential will be huge. Plus, I think the next step I mentioned is the partnerships with new product offerings. So region expansion, the broader age scenario I mentioned from 1 to 9+, and the figures we already had reflect only the growth with the age between 3 and 7. I think these are the major factors we believe the growth will happen. And one thing I like to mention in North America, the better known and the better our brand is known in the especially in the major cities, the wholesalers and retailers, they do the marketing for us. As I mentioned with Walmart, we had a fantastic YouTube video I can recommend to you. Snoop Dogg did a video with a Tony box, and there's a Doggyland figure, a Tony box figurine. You should see it, and he does marketing for us, and he didn't get a cent for this, since he does the marketing for his Doggyland products, and it's a Tony product. We don't even have to pay marketing costs for this.
Mm-hmm. That's a very comfortable situation. I think the last question in the chat box, we more or less answered that also. So therefore, I would like to finish off the Q&A with one more question regarding your supply chain. I think, if I'm not mistaken, you're producing in China and in Tunisia your products. So how do you manage your supply chain also with respect to any tariffs and trade tensions which might occur in the future? Or
sorry to correct you, we do it in China and Vietnam. And Vietnam was, we were, sometimes you need to be, if you're successful, you're also lucky. On the 1st of April, we opened a new factory in Vietnam. And everybody knows what happened on the 2nd of April with this guy with the red hair showing his tabloid and the tariffs. So this was extremely helpful, since the tariffs on Vietnam products have been lower than on the Chinese products. We also produce our figurines in Tunisia and Bosnia. And we have proven that we have a kind of pricing power, since when the tariff increases have been announced, we increased the prices for the most prominent Tony figures in May and June in the US by $2 US dollars, and there was no negative impact on this. So we are, I think we are fine with what we are doing, and we have been extremely successful and proven that we can handle also situations like this, which at the beginning looked extreme for us, but look on our figures for the 9 months, which included all kinds of tariff problems.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Just have a look at the chat box. There's no further question coming in. It's almost spot on 4 o'clock. So Peter, thank you very much for your presentation.
Here you can see my contact address whenever you have further questions in the roadshows and conferences. We are also present at. Was fantastic. Please come back to us, and hope you also enjoy the Tony story at home for Christmas or on the stock market.
I'm sure some of our listeners will go and buy the Tony box. Well, thank you very much also to our participants. That was our final event for this year. The entire MWB research team wishes you all a Merry Christmas, and hope to see you again in the new year with new events, new roadshows. Well, again, thank you very much. And Peter, maybe if you have time to just stay for a second. Thank you.